After Aleshin's death, Alexander Kotov published a very interesting book in 2 volumes titled Aleshin's Chess Inheritance. Instead of presenting Aleshin's games in a chronological order, as this usually happened in any game collection, he classified them by tactical and strategic themes. And this book, which was re-edited many years later, was served well as a manual, as a textbook for many generations of Soviet players, because I'm not sure it was translated to other languages up to recently. Now I would like to speculate a bit about this word inheritance. Does it have any meaning if we refer to Aleshin's games from the perspective of modern chess? And I believe there are some arguments to give a positive answer. I have chosen 3 games from modern years, which have a strong connection with the examples we have followed so far from Aleshin's career. First of all, there is this rook e8 concept from the game against Grunfeld. In the game we are looking at now, we have Einhorn with black. Einhorn is used to be and still is a very strong strategic player. He was very rigorous in designing his plans and move orders in the opening. And first of all, Einhorn played h6 in this moment. Actually, the whole line, he played it several times, and I think it could well bear his name, although the concept was initially designed by Aleshin. The problem is that now c takes d5 makes no sense. Black has not castled, and there is no threat on against h7. So bishop h4 is the natural move. And now Black can continue his development. Rook c1. And now we know that c6 and a6 would almost transpose to Aleshin's games. But Einhorn prefers to play rook e8 at once, since this would be useful anyway. He plays it now. First of all, I have said that Capablanca had switched to c takes d5 in the later games of the match after Aleshin a6. So rook e8 now would practically rule out c takes d5, because for the exchange variation, rook c1 is not really useful, while rook e8 is just a move to be played, because there is a half open e file. But for the minorities attack, which is based on b4, the rook on c1 does not serve well. So h3. The move mentioned by Aleshin, c6. We see that we are familiar with all these moves. Actually, this is the position Aleshin mentioned in his comments. Now, with the pawn on h2, Grunfeld played rook d1, which is not such a good move. But okay, this game ended abruptly after this move, because Black has absolutely no problem, and well, the position is equal. Actually, we know that if White is not careful, then the piece placement is more flexible for Black, so White can easily get the worst out of it. Now we will take a game, Dutch defense game. The variation will be different, and that's played in Aleshin in Bogoliubov Alekhine. But we'll see that the plan of fighting for the light squares will be very much similar. Okay, we see the modern approach. C4 is not played before black defines his intentions with his bishop. Now there is no danger of check on b4, so c4 is absolutely correct. Rook e1, okay, this is not the main move. We will go quickly through the opening phase. But now we see that we have a similar structure as in that game. Okay, there are the dark square bishops on board. It's not clear yet to whose advantage. Well, the pawn on g6 prevents the attack based by queen h7, but at the same time, the bishop on g7 is defended, whereas the d2 bishop is somehow vulnerable. So this opposition along the long diagonal tends to favor black dynamically sometimes. Rook c1. So here is the moment when black starts to fight for space in similar way as Alekhine. a5, a3, and now you might have guessed bishop d7. Of course, bishop d6 is not possible, but bishop d7 is anyway the move having a plan. Okay, now d5 is probably the threat, or maybe knight e7 first and then d5, but somehow Fulak anticipated the events, playing b4, and now the game slightly deviates from the pattern we knew. Barev played d5 immediately. We know that d5 was a recurrent theme in the Alekhine game. So, well, White did his best to avoid being evaded through light squares, but by means of this elegant exchange sacrifice, Black got a wonderful position anyway, and well, eventually he won a good game. I know that this used to be a model game in those years for the Dutch Leningrad Dutch adherents, and okay. Now we will see relatively modern Catalan, play between two brilliant players. The names will appear right now. So we have Stein playing with White against Tal. It is a genuine Catalan. Again, White's position is freer, like in the game Alekhine Keres. Maybe, in fact, the space advantage is more clear here. And Tal tried to get some counterplay in the center with c5. And then a series of exchanges happen in the center. Actually, now bishop c5 is probably the best for black, and maybe d takes c5 is not the best move. Maybe bishop b2 is maintaining the tension is best. But Tal went for d takes c4, and he probably thought that obviously d takes c4 is not good because it would leave White with weak pawn on c4, and otherwise he probably expected general pawn exchanges and equality. But after b4, he got this unpleasant surprise, b5. The same way of changing the structure as in the game Alekhine Keres. True, there is a pawn on c4 to be retrieved, but that's not that complicated to achieve. The knight will arrive on d2, and actually Stein found an elegant way of getting an advantage by means of intermediate moves. And in this position, it is already clear that that white is much better, and it's actually the ending I was speaking about in the notes to Alekhine Keres. Now this threat is very strong, especially with the bishop controlling d8. So it took Stein 11 more moves to convert his advantage into a win. So I believe that it's interesting to look for these kind of similarities between the games of a classic player like Alekhine to modern games. All the games were played between strong grandmasters, and most of them probably had learned something from Alekhine's inheritance.